They say some places don't just exist on the map, they live inside the light, and Florida is one of them. It's where the sun rises not to begin the day, but to unveil a story, one written in salt, sky, and endless motion. From the moment you arrive, you feel it, that subtle hum beneath the breeze, the pulse of a place that never stands still. Florida doesn't ask to be explored. It invites you, quietly, through light that glows warmer, skies that stretch wider, and horizons that seem to breathe. Everywhere you look, the world feels slightly larger, as if the land itself is alive, watching, waiting to be known. The cities here aren't just names on a map. They're characters in a tale that keeps rewriting itself with every sunrise. Some speak in rhythm and laughter, others whisper in silence, but all of them share the same heartbeat beneath the sun. It's a rhythm that moves through waves and streets alike, a rhythm that turns ordinary moments into something unforgettable. You won't find Florida in a single view or sound. You'll find it in the spaces between, in the pauses, in the glances, in the air that tastes like freedom. Every sunset leaves a question behind, and every dawn feels like the answer you didn't know you were searching for. It's not just the beauty that stays with you, it's the feeling, the warmth that lingers long after the light fades. The more you wander, the less you want to leave. Because here, discovery isn't about places, it's about connection. A connection to something vast, golden, and alive. Something that speaks in light and silence at once. Florida is not just a destination, it's a living story, one that reveals itself only to those who truly listen. This is your invitation to discover the Sunshine State, Florida's 10 most amazing cities. Miami. If cities were symphonies, Miami would be written in sunlight, a rising crescendo of color, heat, and rhythm that refuses to fade even after the music ends. It lies at the edge of Florida like an open hand, reaching toward the Caribbean and catching every wind that carries stories, accents, and dreams. The Atlantic shimmers like a mirror to the sky, while behind it, the Everglades whisper in the voice of wild things. This is a city born of contrasts, skyscrapers and swamps, fashion and folklore, chaos and calm in perfect balance. Its streets speak many languages but share one pulse, a syncopated beat that seems to echo from the souls of its people. South Beach is its bright mask, a glowing carnival of Art Deco geometry where even the shadows feel glamorous. But behind the facade lies a quieter truth, the old neighborhoods of Coconut Grove, shaded by banyan trees, where artists, sailors, and poets have gathered for over a century. The food tells you everything, bold, mixed, improvised, and alive, like the city itself. Wynwood bursts with murals that shift each season, as if the city were repainting its soul again and again. Little Havana hums with memory, salsa music, café con leche, and stories of journeys that began in heartbreak but ended in hope. At night, Biscayne Bay becomes a black mirror, reflecting constellations that feel close enough to touch. And deep beneath those waters, some say, lies something older than the city, a network of limestone tunnels known to divers as the Blue Veins, rumored to glow faintly at night with trapped bioluminescent algae. No one knows how deep they go or what carved them, and perhaps that's for the best. Miami keeps its mysteries as lovingly as it keeps its sunlight. Its storm, though fierce, are part of the rhythm, lightning flashing over palm silhouettes like nature's applause. Travel tip for those who crave wonder: rent a bike at sunrise and follow the Venetian Causeway. You'll see the city unfold in color as fishermen cast nets and herons glide between the islands. That's when Miami feels most honest, half asleep, half divine, entirely alive. Every horizon feels painted for you alone. Every breeze a soft reminder that paradise can be loud, messy, and perfect all at once. This is not a city to visit, it's a city to surrender to. Because once Miami touches you, its colors never quite wash off. Orlando. Orlando is a city that breathes between two worlds, the human and the wild, a shimmering oasis surrounded by over 100 lakes that seem to mirror the sky's moods like living mirrors. Unlike Florida's famous coasts, this city stands inland, wrapped in the soft arms of wetlands, cypress groves, and whispering pines that have watched centuries unfold. Before roller coasters and fireworks, This was a place of silence, where cranes walked through silver mist and water lilies opened only when the moon rose. The first settlers must have thought it sacred, a land that seemed to hum with invisible energy, where even the air glowed faintly after the rain. As time moved on, the wilderness bent but never broke. The city that grew from it learned to live with its roots still tangled in the earth. Now, Orlando's skyline stands like glass reeds in the wind, modern yet fragile, surrounded by lakes that hold more secrets than any theme park could invent. At sunrise, the mist rolls over Lake Eola like a living veil, and the world feels paused, caught between dream and awakening. In those moments when the line between reality and illusion blurs, fitting for a city built on the power of belief. Walt Disney may have given it its crown, but nature gave it its soul. The swamps that cradle Orlando are not empty. They breathe, alive with the rustle of gators, the hum of frogs, the flicker of fireflies that turn the forest into a galaxy of moving stars. And perhaps, in a city that thrives on illusion, every myth feels plausible. Yet there's more than mystery here. There's peace, found in quiet moments by the lakeside, when dragonflies skim the surface and the world forgets to rush. The people move at the rhythm of the seasons, quick in summer, gentle in fall, and always smiling beneath the weight of the sun. Their city is one of dualities, of fantasy and stillness, invention and reflection. Cuisine blooms from this diversity. Spicy jerk chicken beside shrimp and grits, passion fruit desserts beside smoky barbecue, all shared beneath strings of lights over the water. Travelers who crave solitude should take the boardwalk trail through Mead Botanical Garden at dawn. That's when you'll see wild peacocks crossing your path and dew shining like 1,000 tiny suns. By evening, the air grows heavy with perfume from night-blooming jasmine, and frogs sing louder than traffic. It's in that symphony of nature that Orlando's truest self reveals itself. A city not of escape, but of connection. Magic may have built its walls, but the wilderness built its heart. Tampa. Before Tampa had towers, it had smoke, thick, fragrant, and curling above red brick factories where thousands of hands rolled cigars by lamplight, their songs and laughter drifting into the humid Florida air like prayers made of tobacco and hope. The city began not with gold or oil, but with ember, born in the late 19th century when Cuban and Spanish immigrants built an empire of craftsmanship that would forever scent the soul of this Gulf Coast port. Back then, the night sky over Ybor City glowed orange from factory windows, and the rhythmic tapping of cigar knives became the heartbeat of a young, ambitious Tampa. In those narrow cobblestone streets, revolutionaries debated freedom over black coffee, poets recited verses beside shop doors, and news from Havana arrived faster than the trains from Tallahassee. Time has passed, but the echoes remain. The wrought iron balconies, the Spanish mosaics, the aroma of roasted coffee still clinging to the walls like memory that refuses to fade. Today, modern Tampa rises around that history, towers of glass and light reflecting off the bay, built by descendants of dreamers who traded smoke for steel, but kept the same restless fire. The city's geography still defines its heart, a peninsula surrounded by tides that breathe in rhythm with its people, a landscape that feels half wild, half tamed. Stand on the Riverwalk at dusk and you'll see it, the water shimmering in copper hues, the skyline glowing like the inside of a cigar ember, the air rich with salt and nostalgia. The Hillsborough River winds through the city like a vein of memory, connecting the old with the new. the whispered past with the electric present. In Ybor, the ghosts would still walk. Storytellers claimed to see the shadow of a cigar roller sitting at his bench after midnight, working silently, finishing a final masterpiece that will never burn. Historians dismiss it as myth, but locals leave a single cigar on factory windowsills every All Saints' Eve, just in case he's real. And perhaps, in a city this layered with memory, belief feels no less practical than reason. Tampa's culture remains a symphony of influences. Cuban rhythm, Italian warmth, Spanish flair, and Southern grace, all blending into something uniquely magnetic. Its cuisine is living history. Press Cuban sandwiches from century-old cafes, seafood pulled fresh from the Gulf, and café con leche poured strong enough to wake the past. For travelers chasing the soul of the city, the first secret lies in its mornings. Arrive early at La Segunda Bakery, where the air smells of sugar and yeast, and the bread crackles as it cools. Order café con leche and watch locals greet each sunrise as if it were a friend. The second secret lives across the bay. Take the old ferry to Davis Islands just before sunset. Rent a bike and ride along the seawall where the skyline melts into gold and pelicans skim the surface like quiet miracles. Beyond the urban rhythm, nature lingers in wait. Mangroves cradling white herons, dolphins racing tugboats, and the scent of salt thickening the air before storms. The storms themselves are part of Tampa's poetry, brief, beautiful, and cleansing, each lightning flash illuminating the balance between chaos and calm. When they pass, the streets shine like mirrors, reflecting neon, rain, and sky in the same shimmering hue. Downtown hums again, a jazz riff from a rooftop, the murmur of lovers on the pier, the city alive, reborn as it always has been. For all its progress, Tampa never truly outgrew its origins. It simply translated them from smoke to skyline, from revolution to rhythm. It is both an old song and a new language, both memory and momentum, both cigar and spark. And if you listen closely enough, especially on quiet nights near Ybor, you can still hear the faint tapping of knives, keeping time with the city's eternal heartbeat. Key West. Some places make you forget time. Key West makes you forget the idea of it altogether. An island that seems to live between heartbeats, floating halfway between memory and sunlight. It's not just an address, it's an atmosphere, a slow, golden pulse that moves through everything, from the sway of the palms to the rhythm of laughter spilling from open windows. You arrive here differently than anywhere else. Maybe it's the sea air, maybe it's the light, but suddenly you walk slower, breathe deeper, smile easier. The streets of Old Town curve lazily under canopies of banyan trees, and every porch seems to have a chair waiting just for you. There's no rush, just the soft hum of island jazz and the clinking of glasses as strangers become friends over stories they'll never tell twice. Hemingway called it a clean, well-lighted place. But it's more than that. It's a place where art and chaos coexist, where solitude and celebration share the same table. Key West feels alive in color. The mint green shutters, coral pink sunsets, cobalt sea, each hue blending like brushstrokes on a canvas that's been drying for 100 years. The ocean isn't background here. It's personality, laughing, teasing, sometimes roaring, but always reminding you who's really in charge. Storms arrive like dancers, fierce and fleeting, leaving the streets washed in silver and the air heavy with the smell of fresh rain. At night, lanterns glow low over the patios, and the world softens into candlelight and breeze. Locals say that under the full moon, the island's cats grow restless, and the waters near the pier ripple with strange green light. A trick of tide, or something older keeping watch. It's that hint of the uncanny that makes Key West feel infinite, beautiful, but never ordinary. The food here mirrors the mood, wild and indulgent. Conch ceviche, lobster tacos, mojitos served with laughter and sea breeze. Every meal tastes a little like the ocean and a little like freedom. For travelers craving a secret, rent a bike and follow Whitehead Street all the way to the southernmost point at dawn. Not for the photo, but for the silence before the world wakes. Or take the ferry to Sunset Key for dinner. The journey itself, 30 golden minutes across water, feels like crossing into a dream. The locals call it island time, but it's really something deeper. A shift, a surrender, a realization that nothing urgent can survive here. The magic of Key West isn't in what you see, it's in what you stop trying to control. Every gust of wind, every echo of laughter, every salt-streaked window tells you the same truth. Peace is not absence, it's presence. And as you stand at the pier at midnight, where the ocean sighs against the rocks and stars hang so close you could touch them, you'll feel it. That quiet certainty that you're exactly where you were meant to be. Because in Key West, the world doesn't end. It begins again, gently, with the tide. St. Augustine. If history had a scent, in St. Augustine it would be salt, stone, and orange blossoms, the fragrance of the oldest city in America, still breathing beneath the Spanish arches and cobbled streets that have outlasted empires. Perched along Florida's Atlantic coast, St. Augustine feels less like a destination and more like a memory made solid, a living tapestry where centuries blur, and every echo of footsteps seems to belong to another time. Founded in 1565 by Spanish explorer Pedro Menéndez de Avilés, this city was never merely built. It was claimed, defended, burned, rebuilt, and loved into eternity. Pirates once sailed these waters, British cannons once cracked against these walls, and through it all, the Castillo de San Marcos still stands, a fortress of coral stone that hums with centuries of defiance. Its walls were carved from coquina, tiny shells fused by the sea, and perhaps that's why it has survived every storm. It was literally made from the memory of the ocean. Walk through the narrow lanes of the historic district, and you'll feel the past brush against your sleeve. Wrought iron balconies dripping with flowers, wooden doors creaking open to cafes that smell of espresso and rain. The city's heart beats softly in its people, artists, historians, and wanderers who treat preservation not as duty, but as devotion. Their love for this place layered into every mural and melody. You'll hear flamenco guitars in the courtyards, gospel voices rising from hidden chapels, and laughter echoing beneath gas lamps that still burn as they did 3 centuries ago. Cuisine here is a delicious inheritance. Spanish, Menorcan, and Caribbean roots mingling in every dish. Taste the datil pepper sauce that locals swear cures anything but heartbreak, or sip sangria beneath the arches of Avilés Street as street musicians play for both you and the ghosts. Even the air tastes seasoned, a blend of sea breeze and spice that makes you feel as if the city itself is feeding you stories. Visit the Leitner Museum, once Henry Flagler's Grand Hotel, and you'll see how Gilded Age ambition collided with Old World charm, leaving behind chandeliers that still drip with elegance and nostalgia. For travelers who chase moments rather than monuments, climb the lighthouse at dawn. The view is not just of the ocean, but of time itself unfolding in layers of mist and memory. And if you wander past midnight, the city grows quieter, more intimate. Locals whisper that near St. George Street, the spirit of a Spanish soldier still patrols, lantern in hand, guarding a city that no longer needs defending. No one fears him. He's part of the story now, a reminder that history doesn't end, it lingers. Modern St. Augustine is vibrant yet humble. Artists painting on street corners, bakers selling guava pastries from family recipes, students sketching the skyline as gulls trace circles above. This is not a city trapped in its past. It's a city that wears it like jewelry, beautifully aged, unashamed, and endlessly captivating. And when the sun sinks into the Matanzas Bay, turning every wall to gold, you'll understand what St. Augustine truly is. Not a relic, but a heartbeat, steady, enduring, and utterly alive. Naples. They say the sea remembers everything, and if that's true, then Naples must be its favorite memory, a place where the ocean lingers, as if reluctant to move on. At first glance, it feels serene, all pale sands and shimmering calm. But look closer, and you'll sense it, the quiet intelligence of nature, watching, breathing, waiting. This city was not built on ambition, but on alignment, a rare harmony between man and tide, where the Gulf seems to approve of every gesture and forgives every intrusion. Long before streets and sailboats, this was Calusa land, a people who read the stars through mangroves, who believed that the sea was alive and that every wave carried a message for those patient enough to listen. That belief still hums beneath the city's polish. You can hear it in the cry of seabirds, in the hush of palms that lean toward the light as if remembering an ancient language. Naples today glows with quiet elegance, pastel houses, terracotta roofs, and courtyards perfumed with jasmine. Yet beneath all that refinement lies a heartbeat older than architecture. The Everglades breathe just beyond the edge, their silence wrapping the city like a secret blessing. And dolphins carve arcs through the surf as though tracing invisible prayers in motion. At dusk, the Gulf ignites, gold melting into rose, then violet, and for a fleeting moment, the water mirrors the sky so perfectly that you can't tell which one is dreaming of the other. But when night falls, the magic deepens. Fishermen whisper of the mirror tide, a phenomenon when, after certain storms, the waves flatten into perfect glass, reflecting stars so vividly it feels as though the heavens have come down to rest on the sea. Those who've witnessed it speak softly, afraid to break whatever spell the world has cast. Food in Naples is simple yet transcendent, the kind that tells stories through flavor. Snapper grilled with sea salt, oysters kissed by lemon and memory, pasta brightened with sun-warmed basil. Here, meals aren't eaten, they unfold, like slow confessions under a canopy of starlight and breeze. For travelers chasing authenticity, skip the crowded pier at sunset and instead walk the boardwalk at Clam Pass Park after rain. When the tide is low, the mangroves open into a hidden lagoon glowing faintly with bioluminescent plankton, a secret Naples keeps for those who arrive quietly. It's said that if you dip your hand into that water, the glow follows you for hours, a tiny piece of the Gulf refusing to let go. The people here live by that same rhythm, measured, warm, patient. They know that life, like the tide, always returns what it takes. And when morning comes again, and the sky blushes over the horizon, Naples exhales, the sea sighs, the gulls rise, and everything begins as if for the first time. Perhaps that's Naples' true secret. It doesn't try to dazzle or conquer. It teaches you to listen, to breathe, to belong. And when you finally leave, it's not the sand that clings to you, it's the silence, the shimmer, and the feeling that somewhere out there, the ocean still remembers your name. Fort Lauderdale. The sun doesn't just rise over Fort Lauderdale. It unfurls, spilling gold across a labyrinth of canals until the whole city shimmers like it was painted in light. Known as the Venice of America, this coastal jewel isn't defined by its skyline or speedboats, but by the rhythm of its tides, a steady, luminous heartbeat that has pulsed for over a century. Before the yachts and high-rise condos, before the boulevards were lined with palms, this land was Tequesta territory, fishermen and navigators who mapped these waters long before GPS, guided only by stars and instinct. Then came the 20th century dreamers, railroad men, shipbuilders, and artists who saw not just shoreline, but possibility, and turned a wilderness of mangroves into a waterborne city of light. Even now, the canals tell that story, Over 300 miles of shimmering blue veins, where herons perch on docks beside glass mansions, and the reflections of sailboats ripple like moving art. Fort Lauderdale's beauty feels fluid, part city, part ocean, part mirage. By day, it hums with motion. Paddleboarders gliding through waterways, cyclists chasing sunlight down Las Olas Boulevard, and the laughter of travelers echoing beneath the palms. By night, it slows, neon reflections in the river, jazz spilling from open bars, the hum of water taxis tracing paths through moonlit canals. The city's cultural soul thrives quietly behind the glamour, in art districts reborn from old warehouses, in open-air galleries where murals bloom across concrete like coral reclaiming a reef. Food here is a fusion of coasts and continents. Caribbean spice meets Mediterranean grace, seafood kissed by citrus and rum, and Cuban coffee strong enough to start revolutions. Yet beneath the sparkle lies a whisper. Locals tell of the Watcher in the Water, a mysterious light seen gliding beneath the canal surface after heavy storms, said to follow boats silently before vanishing near the river mouth. Fort Lauderdale has always danced between the mystical and the modern, a city of water that reflects everything, even its secrets. For travelers, the best way to feel its pulse isn't from the shore, but from the water. Take the water taxi at dusk, when the sun bleeds into the canals and the city glows as if lit from within. The people here move with the tide, graceful, unhurried, always a little salt on their skin and sun in their laughter. And as night folds across the bay and the boats sway in their slips, you realize Fort Lauderdale isn't just a place to see, it's a place that watches you back. Here, everything, even the light, feels alive. Sarasota. The water around Sarasota doesn't just shimmer. It thinks, it dreams, it waits. Here, the Gulf is not background but character, shifting from turquoise to silver, whispering secrets older than the sand itself. Before art claimed the shoreline, this was a place of silence and depth, where the Calusa built mounds from seashells and called the tides by name. Even now, the ocean carries their rhythm, waves that rise and fall like breath. Seagrass swaying to melodies no one taught, but everyone feels. Sarasota has always belonged to both water and wonder, a balance of coral and culture, where dolphins swim beneath bridges and artists paint what the sea remembers. Every morning, sunlight pours over Siesta Key, scattering diamonds across quartz sand so pure it stays cool even at noon. They say that if you walk barefoot there before sunrise, the sand hums faintly beneath your steps, a sound too soft for science, too sacred for disbelief. Perhaps that's why so many come here to begin again, to reset, to listen, to rediscover what quiet feels like. In the mangrove tunnels of South Lido, kayakers move through living cathedrals, branches arching overhead, light shifting through green water like stained glass. The city beyond feels far away, its noise replaced by the slow percussion of droplets and wings. Locals speak of a phenomenon called the glass horizon, when humidity and light combine to make the Gulf vanish into the sky, and for a moment, there is no line between earth and heaven. Some say it's an illusion, others call it a reminder that boundaries are inventions. Food here honors that idea. Ceviche that tastes like sunlight, oysters served on ice that catches the last rays of day, and cocktails named for storms that never came. For those seeking Sarasota's true voice, skip the resorts and take a boat at dusk, drift offshore, cut the engine, and just listen. The waves will answer, the light will bend, and the sky will close slowly around you like the final note of a song you didn't know you were part of. Because Sarasota isn't about escape, it's about surrender. And when you return to shore, you'll carry that silence like treasure, proof that even the sea still believes in miracles. Destin. At the edge of Florida's panhandle, where the Gulf breathes slow and the light feels almost alive, there lies a place the sea seems unwilling to let go. Destin, a name spoken softly, as though it were less a city than a spell. Its beaches glow not white, but luminous. Quartz sand so pure it sings beneath your feet, cool even under the noonday sun. Locals say the sand came from the Appalachian Mountains, carried south by rivers over millennia, as if the land itself were moving toward the sea. Here, the water is glass, the wind gentle, the horizon eternal, and yet there's something beneath it all that hums. The Gulf holds secrets, stories of wrecked ships, forgotten storms, and whispers of something ancient stirring in its emerald depths. Fishermen speak of the green eye, a single luminous circle of light that appears far offshore during red tides, following boats for hours before fading into darkness. Scientists dismiss it as plankton bloom, but divers say the water warms when it passes, as if watched by something kind. Destin thrives on that tension between mystery and mercy, between what can be seen and what can only be felt. The city's rhythm mirrors the sea, calm mornings, vibrant afternoons, evenings that fall softly, like a curtain drawn across the day. Golden sunlight spills over the wooden dock as seagulls rise into the air, their wings catching the breeze above Destin's glowing emerald waters like fragments of freedom taking flight. At sunset, the whole horizon burns gold, and for a few fleeting seconds, the world feels paused, balanced perfectly between heaven and reflection. Cuisine here tastes of salt and sun, crab cakes crisp as coral, lemon butter catching the glow of the lanterns, and key lime pie sharp enough to make memory sting. For travelers seeking its soul, skip the tourist docks and head to Henderson Beach State Park just before nightfall. Wait there in silence, and you may see what locals call the whisper tide, a moment when the wind dies and the sea grows still, as though listening to its own heartbeat. Destin is a reminder that paradise isn't perfect, it's alive. And the longer you stay, the more you realize the ocean doesn't just touch this city. It speaks through it. Jacksonville. The story of Jacksonville doesn't begin with its skyline. It begins with its river, a winding silver vein that has carried time, trade, and truth through centuries. Before highways and harbors, before the glow of city lights reflected off the St. Johns River, this land belonged to the Timucua people, river navigators who believed the water could hear prayers. Even now, if you stand on the banks at dawn, you can almost feel it listening. Founded in 1822 and scarred by fire, war, and rebirth, Jacksonville is a city that has never stopped reinventing itself, a testament to resilience wrapped in the hush of Southern grace. It's Florida's largest city, not in ego but in expanse, stretching from ocean to forest, from the salt of the Atlantic to the stillness of cypress swamps. That scale gives Jacksonville its paradox. It feels both boundless and personal, both metropolis and memory. Downtown hums with glass towers and jazz echoes. But only a few miles away, oak-lined streets breathe history, and time slows beneath the shade of century-old branches. Walk through Riverside and Avondale, where the architecture bends toward romance, Spanish Revival arches, Art Deco facades, and old verandas still smelling faintly of orange blossoms and rain. Each neighborhood tells its own chapter, from the creativity of Springfield's artists to the surf culture of Jacksonville Beach, where sunrise feels less like a beginning than a revelation. The people here live by rhythm, gospel in the morning, blues by night, and football every Sunday as if it were ritual. Music isn't background, it's bloodstream. Ray Charles once played on these streets, and the echoes of his piano still linger between the walls of old clubs that refuse to forget. But beneath the pulse and progress, Jacksonville carries its ghosts. Fishermen speak of the river lantern, a single floating light that drifts silently upstream at night, appearing before storms and disappearing just as thunder breaks. Some say it's the spirit of a ship's captain lost in the Great Fire of 1901, still guiding souls home when the water turns restless. Others believe it's the St. John's itself, alive, aware, warning those who don't respect its tides. Whatever it is, no one dares chase it. In Jacksonville, mysteries are treated with courtesy. Food here tastes like the city's soul, bold, smoky, and generous. Shrimp and grits served with laughter, Southern barbecue kissed by oak, and cocktails that carry the warmth of the river's own sunset. Art spills through the streets, murals stretching across brick, galleries hidden in alleyways, jazz fests that fill the air with brass and belonging. And while skyscrapers mirror the clouds, it's the river that owns the reflection. The St. John's runs north, one of only a few rivers in the world that does, a defiance that seems to explain the city itself. Whether it's myth or memory hardly matters. Jacksonville was never meant to be understood, only experienced. Because this isn't just a city, it's a living river, a moving story, a heartbeat made of water and will. And when you stand by its edge, with the tide curling around your feet, you'll understand why the locals say softly, almost reverently, the river never forgets.